So, I'm going to do a walk around of my 66 bus I have here. I've had it since 1998. Done a lot of modifications to it over the years and driven it quite a bit. Back in 2000, I got rid of the drum brakes and went with a Wolfgang kit and went with later model bus, disc brakes, and took a little one step further. Put on the power booster from a 75 bus as well, and then drove it around for quite a few years that way. I loved it, but what I didn't like was the reduction gearboxes. They leaked. There was something wrong with the machining or something. The axle stubs. I had to replace those seals. I don't know how many times, and they still leaked. And I didn't really like the gearing, so I got rid of that about 2007. Went with a Bug IRS kit. I pulled the single side cover transmission out of my Secret Beetle and installed it in my bus, and then I swapped the rear to the same bolt pattern. So that was kind of the major mechanical stuff I did. I rebuilt the engine at one point in time when I lived in Arizona. It's 1600 with angle 110 cam and 1.25 rocker arms. If I had to do it over again, I wouldn't have done it that way because it's real lopey at idle. It's a little bit too much lopey, too lopey for my taste. But it's fuel injected. That's SDS system. I did a different video about that. It's a Canadian fuel injection system. It's all enclosed. They don't have to hook up to a laptop or anything like that. It's a nice little module. You play with the timing. This tensioner, I did a separate video about this too. I just fabricated this recently to take a lot of the wasted energy out of the belt vibration for it. It's crank trigger, ignition. What else? The wiring I gotta clean up. I gotta get that situated and all this stuff. And about 2010, when I was living in Louisiana, sent the bus to what I not so affectionately call paint jail. A guy did it to the outside. It's typical paint shop story. Oh yeah, it's only gonna take 2 or 3 months. Well, a year and a half later. So about the last year of that process, I was showing up almost every week unannounced to making sure that stuff was getting done. Anyways, but that's all behind. It turned out great. Looks really good. I painted the inside, all stuff. These are Mercedes CLK rims off a Roadster. Probably recognize them. And these spike center caps I made myself. I machined them myself out of aluminum round rod. And the tricky part is not doing the spike here. It's actually the stuff on the inside, so it can slip over the axle nut. That's what is the most time consuming. Each one obviously did all 4. Each one takes me about, it's a mechanical lathe. It took me about 8 to 10 hours to do. So quite a lot of work. People look at it and think it's like nothing or something like that. And kind of, I have to point out the fact that how much time it actually takes to make one of those. Obviously the front door frames I haven't done yet. The dash, it's dusty. I did a block off plate myself. I fabricated that for these seats. A friend of mine gave to me when I was living over in Lafayette, Louisiana. They're out of a 944. They're really heavy. They're really heavy. Each one probably weighs over 50 pounds. So eventually these are going to go away. I'm going to get, as soon as I have the means to get a bead roller, I'm actually going to do my own bomber style seats out of aluminum sheeting. But that's at some other date. So the bus was, I used it as a pro rally support vehicle back in 2001. So there's my tag. They misspelled my name horribly, but anyway. So that's where the idea came from, to do kind of the rally support vehicle look. I got the rally lights in the front, Black Magic, and mud flaps on the rear, Sparco mud flaps. I need to put the other ones in the front. I need to lower it about a 1/4 inch more. It's just a little too high for my liking right now. But anyways, we'll get there. So this is the underside of the front beam. You can see I situated the power booster in there. I welded my own bracket, and I just recently fabricated and welded up and powder coated a new bracket for the master cylinder for the hydraulic clutch. I used the old clutch guide tube as the vacuum for the power booster, and here I welded and fabricated a couple little tabs to a return spring for the pedal to come back up. So this underside of the rear, you can see the IRS in there. I had to use thing flanges. I had to pop those off the single side covered transmission, replace those. These are Bay Bus trailing arms. It's got I fabricated the brackets and installed 2,500 pound airbags in the rear. Kind of shift to the inside. You can see I did this carpeting, painted the inside myself. That seat was out of a Isuzu pickup truck. The spare I don't have yet. I have to get a Mercedes one because the bolt pattern is the same as a bus, but the stud size is different between a bus and a Mercedes. So I have to get one from like a 2000, 2001 Mercedes. I installed these little shelves. They're kind of cool. Funny story about this. I have another one situated up there in the front. That one I bought first at Goodwill or something years ago, and then like 5 years later, I found these other two, and they're identical, but these are obviously just smaller. But drilled some little speed holes in the sides here, but getting everything all buttoned up and situated. So I did this natural wood. So there's some water. I washed it a little while ago. It's not leaking, it's just dripped in from me opening the door. Some paneling I did. Yeah, the same on the inside. It's kind of like the dirty old seat. I need to do something about that. But did my own seat belts from. So looking good. Fresh air vent. It's a very dusty dash here. Still, yeah, it's dusty. It needs to be cleaned up. 3-point seat belts. Little Porsche-inspired door pull that I did. I'm gonna obviously put the parts back on it that I had taken off that need to be painted. The door frames, the windows, seals, all that stuff. As well as in the rear, I want to install rear disc brakes on it, and I'm not going to buy a kit. I'm going to actually fabricate my own brackets, and I'm going to use Mercedes front vented rotors, like a 190E or something like that. And I have a set of RX-8, Mazda RX-8 rear calipers, which will fit over those, but I need to do all the fabrication about that at some point in time. So fun, always something to do. Hope you enjoyed this little tour of my bus. Thanks. See ya.